morning everybody, welcome to the Ongava Game Reserve. It's exciting because we heard some lions roaring earlier this morning, so we're trying to go out and find them. So come with me and let's go and explore. Hi everybody, we're joined here by Stuart, and right at the back of us we've come across some lions. It's a great habitat for them. Of course, I'm sure they chose this location because they're trying to pounce on any antelope that's coming for a drink. So that's why it's a little bit tough to see them. What do you think, Stu?
Yeah, they've obviously been here from last night. I've seen at least 3 young males in that thicket over there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, as you can see, I mean, there's short shrub mapani everywhere. I mean, it's ideal habitat for lion. Antelope are going to have a real hard time picking them up.
Yeah. The ambush is set.
They're doing what typical lion do. They are resting in the shade. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be here most of the day. But difficult to see. You see how well camouflaged they are.
Yeah. It's a great advantage for them, and I'm sure, like you said, any antelope that comes across would not be able to pick them up, and that means that they could also be opportunistic.
Yeah.
Even if it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, which they would still take that opportunity to go for something.
Well, I mean, if you just think of that one male who's got his head up, if he put that head down and started to doze, you wouldn't see him walking in this felt.
No,
You would really struggle to pick him up. And so like you said, an opportunistic hunt would happen. As animals during, they generally antelope prefer to drink during daylight hours, so they will be coming down to water now. And this is one of the main routes into this water point, this dam. And so they're perfectly positioned, obviously dependent on the wind. But they may very well be successful later.
Yeah.
Interesting fact about lion in Namibia: generally they're persecuted on most land, apart from national parks and a few game reserves. We're fortunate enough to be one of those game reserves who tolerate. I say tolerate. We actually enjoy having lion on Ongava. They're allowed to roam freely in the wild and to hunt and live as if it was a national park. So
there must be some pressure on the wildlife, like the antelope, that because it's the game reserve is still confined, and although you allow them to come on, you must have some management program to try and keep the numbers at bay.
Yeah, to try and stop them overpopulating. The interesting thing that we've experienced with lion is they regulate themselves socially. So as long as there's something to eat, the numbers can stay quite high. So we might see a steep decline in, for example, a prey species like wildebeest. They'll eat all of them, for example. But their numbers won't change as long as there's a kudu or another wildebeest or something to eat and catch. So when the social structure becomes a little bit unstable, maybe there's lots of young males who are trying to assert their authority. They're being pushed out of the pride by the adult male. You get a lot of social upheaval, and then you get sort of fragmentation in these populations. And what we try to do with that as part of our management policy is we do try to move those young animals off Ongava. It is pretty difficult because, as I said, lions generally are not tolerated on private land, so that we're limited in where they can be taken. But we call it an assisted dispersal program, where young animals, males and females, who are being pushed out of the prides naturally, but are struggling to find a space, we then, with the help of the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, we work together. We then we catch those animals, so we dart them, immobilize them, and we move them to areas around Namibia which tolerate lion, and where they can start a new life. So some of them go back into Etosha, where there's gaps in the lions there. We have have also sent lion to Cowden in the northeast. So that process of trying to control numbers, it's an active process with a lion population. They are an incredibly difficult animal to manage because they're big predators and they have big impact on prey species. You know, they eat animals and they eat lots of them.
Yeah, oh, that's amazing. So most of their species that they prefer here is like wildebeest, and you've got greater kudu, some mountain zebra. Since we're close to the hills here, it's expected to have some of those.
Generally, lions eat anything. I've seen them eat anything from a mongoose to a giraffe.
Oh.
But they will, obviously the rate of incidence, so what animal they come into contact with the most is dependent on what's most dominant in our area. So yes, around here you'd be looking at kudu, mountain zebra. Because of the hilly terrain, it's ideal habitat for browsers and animals that are associated with hills. So those animals would be coming down to this waterhole and would obviously then be more likely to bump into these cats than, say, a zebra, a normal plain zebra, which is we normally find out in our more open areas.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They're incredibly good colonizers of areas, lions. So once they've established themselves on a piece of land, they do very, very well. And I mean, you can see they're pretty relaxed. I mean, they spend
like all flat down on the ground.
So that'll be them for the day, unless something walks by.
Wow. It is exciting. Yeah, it's cool because as we drove up to this water source, we picked up on some fresh tracks, and we were quite sure that they might have been somewhere, although we didn't see them. We spotted them through the thick dense brush, and here we are with them. Probably might see good sightings of them in the coming days. We never know, but still, this is a great sighting, although they're not doing anything.
They're doing what lions do.
Yeah.
23 hours out of 24 sleep.
Really, really patient, and just looking at their behavior, just repositioned ourselves and actually getting a better view of these two lions. For the time being, they're really relaxed, but again, this afternoon we're gonna come out here to the same spot and just see what we can expect from them. Maybe they might come out and just hang around the edge of the water, the edge of the dam wall, and we can get some great interactions from the cat.
Yeah, I really don't think they're going to go anywhere today. They all look pretty full here. Okay. One moving over there.
It's amazing. I mean, you can smell that almost like rotten flesh. It's coming from them, right?
It's just coming from them, yes.
We might have killed something in the area, because yesterday afternoon we drove past this. We didn't see anything, but it was dark, but we could smell something like something's rotting. So it could have been these guys that killed and spent some time feeding on that animal, and that's what we're kind of smelling at the moment.
Well, just also, if you look at their condition, they're all pretty fat.
Yeah.
So they've got full tummies. So, I mean, you can see this youngster lying out here. I mean, he's looking quite uncomfortable, actually. He's so full. So a good chance that they ate last night. And they're going to rest up for the rest of the day now, digest that.
It's incredible what you guys are doing on the game reserve, and of course, you know, to my knowledge as well, lions are persecuted, I think, in southern Africa. Their body parts have been sold as well, you know, so they're almost at an equal level as rhinos that are disappearing, and if nothing has been done, I think lions will also disappear off the continent.
Well, I hope that never happens, but I mean, they are under threat. Range reduction is occurring all the time, so it's just the nature of the animal. I mean, they are a very large, dangerous cat. I mean, they kill your livestock, they can kill you. So the conflict they create with human settlements is significant, and people are scared of them. So you know, when you're under threat, you try to remove that threat, and so lions are killed because they are coming into conflict with animals and livestock animals and people. So by trying to allow them range on Ongava, they can move freely here, they can breed, and we are contributing to the sort of the meta population of lion in Namibia and their future survival.
That's great. Yeah. Do you hear that, young boy? Your future is secured. Oh, see,
another one coming out.
I think they're getting a bit more relaxed around us.
Maybe not.
not.
You've got a growl.
Yeah. But you know, youngsters, that's how they are.
Yeah, she's less happy with us. A little growl there.
All right, everybody, we'll try and give them some space, and of course come back in the afternoon to see some more great interactions of these the same pride that we found here.
All the youngsters are moving now. They're all with nice fat round tummies.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, the big boy is still lying down. Yeah. Oh wow.
It's dirtier.
Awesome, everybody.
Great
Stuart,
sighting.
thanks again for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
Awesome. It's great. Again, everybody, we'll come out here this afternoon and see what these lions are doing. Maybe we might get some great interactions. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back onto the Ongava Game Reserve. We're out on an afternoon game drive, and we've returned to the pride of lions that we have seen this morning. It seems that the sun is still hot, temperatures are still a bit high, and everyone is lounging in the shade. But of course, signs to watch out for. What I'm looking at is a little bit of flickering of the tail, things like grooming, when they start licking their paws, and these exaggerated yawning. It's almost just sporadic. That is a sign that they might start getting active, and hopefully they'll walk towards the water hole where we might go and see them in some good light, and perhaps all of them will be drinking. That'll be an awesome sighting. At the moment, what I'm seeing, there are at least 2 young males, subadult males, 1 female, also a subadult lioness lying down flat, and of course, just a little bit out of view, behind the shrub, there might be some youngsters. And of course, all of them really just hanging out together. Very curious as well, so they were a bit curious to us arriving here, looking at what type of vehicle we're driving and all of that. You can see he's starting to clean himself. I think from what they've eaten, there might still be traces of blood on their fur, so that too, they groom him, just like little kitties back home. And of course, lions, like all cats, have got these backward-pointing barbs on their tongues, and that is used to rake off any excess dirt from their skin, and they like cleanliness. Sometimes they might groom each other, lick each other on the cheeks. And with one of the lionesses, the young female, in the shade there, you can see she's got a really white belly, And a lot of times, if that catches sunlight, it does help cool herself off, because that reflects the sunlight. All right, everybody, we've met up with the lions at the water hole. It seems like they've all had a good drink, and judging by the way they're lying around and a little bit of tail flicking, the black tuft on their tails always tell you something about their behavior or how they feel at certain times. And as they're just settling in, we're still around. It just also gives a clear indication that they're not really settled yet. But being familiar with the area, of course, there's still some light available, and they just don't want any antelope or zebra, the late stragglers coming in for a drink, to see them. And that's why it could also be another reason that lying down flat could also obscure themselves and not give the antelope a visual of the lions. And although they're still, you can see them lying down quietly, the ears are still flickering, which also gives a clear indication that they're well aware of what they hear. Any little snap from a hoof can give them an indication which direction an antelope is coming from. And of course, like with the rhinos, we have the sun setting, the cold air is coming in, and that also brings the smells, the sounds quite clear to them. So that's also another reason why keeping still, lying down flat, gives them that sense. And you can see clearly on those lions lying down, facing us with their bellies, and nice pale and white. And that's what I was mentioning about the reflection of the light on some hot days. Sometimes they can go on their backs if they're quite hot. That allows them to cool off, just reflecting a little bit of that hot sun. As we can slowly see the light fading, this also brings us to a great end of another adventurous day. And what a day to end it off with these couple of lions here. I feel hopeful for them. Probably something might come in. They might have another snack. But that's another prediction of mine. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. What a great end to a wonderful day. And just tune in tomorrow for another adventure.